Hey, so today I'm trying something out. I'm not reading to you, but I am talking to you, which may make it a little bit more bumpy or whatever, but I don't want to be reading something that you can read for yourself. Okay, so bear with me. I'm learning how to look at the camera and pretend it's you. All right, today I would like to introduce you to a really interesting article that I read and was introduced to by a reading group. It was written by Vilhjálmur Arnason from Iceland. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. And it's called Gadamerian, so by Gadama, Dialogue in the Patient-Professional Interaction. And I really liked a couple of points that this article makes because it is very relevant, as I believe, for coaches as well. Arnason introduces three kinds of, let's say, relationships between a medical professional and their patients. And I think these three types of relationships also might happen in coaching. One is the first one is the paternalistic relationship, where the practitioner, the doctor, the medical professional has privileged knowledge that the patient doesn't have. And the idea is that the doctor will prescribe something, you're going to be compliant and take the medicine, and basically the doctor knows and you don't. So that's kind of this paternalistic relationship. I think as coaches, this is a relationship that we rarely engage in because, at least in my experience, we have a different relationship with our clients. The clients hire us, they pay money for our services. I think we're from the start, we're on more equal footing. And the other thing is, as coaches, we rarely have privileged knowledge like a doctor. We don't know how to repair a heart valve or something. We don't know anything necessarily about what the client should do with their lives or with their professional lives. So I think that paternalistic relationship is rarer in coaching circumstances. The next one would be one of client autonomy. And in the medical profession, it's basically would be the doctor does whatever the client wants the doctor to do, which then leads to weird things like where doctors are actually harming patients, for example, in plastic surgeries, where you're not really sure that this is very beneficial for the health of the other person. And then that poses ethical questions for the medical doctor. So client autonomy kind of pretends that the decision of what will be done only rests with the client and that the practitioner or the professional has nothing to do with it. And I think that's not really the case either. I mean, of course, as coaches, we know that the client is finally responsible for what they're doing. But I know that when I feel like my client is making a big mistake, and there is a blog post I wrote about that as well, I feel somehow implicated. It's not like I am not there in this relationship and the client decides to do whatever they want. We are developing something in collaboration. So there is a part of me that is implicated. So I think that this client autonomy relationship doesn't totally cut it either. Then Arnason mentions the contractual relationship, and I think that relationship doesn't really work very well for the medical profession, but it may work for the coaching relationship. Arnason criticizes it for the medical relationship because he says it's probably always an unequal relationship because there is privileged knowledge by the professional, by the medical professional, and this contract is on very unequal terms. I think this is different in the coaching world, and we are always very cognizant of the contract that we have with our client. And usually in the contract, we would also have an element where we discuss the kind of relationship that the client would like to have with us. So while I think the point is valid for the medical world, it might not be so valid for the coaching world. These deliberations lead Arnason to look up Gadamer's theory of mutual understanding. And I think this is very, very fruitful for the coaching world or for us as coaches. The first point that he makes is that it is not possible for us to understand our client. So it's not possible for several reasons. One is our clients as human beings with their interactions, with everything that's happening around them, are not people like analyzable like let's say a bicycle, for example. They're not predictable. They are much too complex so that we could really say we understand our clients like we understand a bicycle. Then the we in the we understand is also something that needs to be problematized in my view, because we will, and Arnason's view, obviously, because that's where I'm taking it from, we always, when we understand another human being, or when we say we understand another human being, we always bring in our own cultural, personal, and theoretical lenses. It's not like we see the other person like they are. We see the other persons through our lenses. Basically, we see them as we are rather than as they are. And the third argument against thinking that we can understand our clients is a moral one. Personally, I think we should never treat our clients as objects, and worse, as objects that we can manipulate. So whenever I am bringing my theoretical lens and am entering my client into that theoretical lens, and I am observing my client through a theoretical lens, like through a microscope, I am, in a sense, negating the humanity of the other person. I think it is our moral obligation to treat our clients as fellow human beings and to interact and collaborate. And that's where the word understanding with comes in. So we are collaborating, in the best case, we are collaborating and in dialogue with our clients to talk about something that we are observing together. So we are understanding something with our clients. It could be the client's problem. It could be the client's issue. It could be where the client wants to develop. It could be the client's goal. It could be many things. So we are looking at something together. It's kind of we're side by side rather than me observing my client. Now, you probably say, but, we observe our clients and it's very important to offer our observations. I think there is a big difference between observing and observing. Of course, yeah, you say there is no difference between observing and observing, but there is. So when we observe, in order to analyze, we are treating our clients as objects. When in our collaboration, in our dialogue, we notice something and we mention it to the client and ask the client whether this is something that may be interesting to them, then we stay in the collaboration, then we're not observing and analyzing the client. I think a relationship in which the client may also observe something, if that happens, then you're on the dialogic and collaborative path. I think it's interesting to see kind of what are the distributions of rights and duties in our coaching relationships. We reserve the right to ask questions. We reserve the right to observe. We reserve the right to do many things in the coaching session that we don't necessarily give or allow our clients to do. Personally, I think it's a very good way to start our reflections of where am I privileging my view? Where am I giving myself rights in the coaching relationship that my client doesn't have? And I'm going to be very interested in what I'm doing in my coaching relationships over the next coming weeks to see how can I understand with my clients rather than about my client or understand my client. As always, if you like this, please comment, let me know. I'm experimenting. I hope I've been able to look at the camera a little bit this time. So have fun. And if you want, subscribe, like, and join us at our free meetups and exchange, which happen every week. So www.solutionsacademy.com/registration. I'm going to put in the description section below. Hope to see you there. Bye bye.